Welcome back to WCS America round of 16. We're into Group B now after our first match of the day was taking place in Group A. We've had 5 matches since then. We're now into the second match for Group B. It's going to be HuK versus Revival. Rotterdam's back alongside me. This is going to be a cracker. I've been looking forward to this since we saw the groups come out.
This is indeed going to be a lot of fun. HuK had a very solid performance in the round of 2. He looked convincing. I think he's looked convincing in the last few months, even though he had one disappointing performance, which was the MLG Invitational. But in the second one, in the Endless Game on Blu-ray, he did good. In the StarCraft America, which is now already 4 or 5 months ago, but he was superb back then. He won.
Sounds crazy that it was 4 or 5. It seemed like yesterday he won that.
I know. It's like, they finally have some regional tournaments. It's like, actually, there's a lot of them in the last 4 months. But it's going to be a lot of fun going up against Revival, of course, former teammates. A lot of people were definitely surprised when EG decided to let Revival go, because he was definitely not the weakest link back then in Pro League. And of course, that Intel Extreme Masters Championship that he had in Shanghai, that was the best he ever did. And I think Team Liquid back then worded it best, where they said, like, Team Liquid or EG let Revival go after the most successful year he ever had, and that's kind of how it was.
Yeah, it's quite hardcore, isn't it? And I mean, we were talking backstage just before the game, so he has the perfect StarCraft 2 name, Kim Dong-hyun. It's like the perfect. It's like David Kim, the Dong, and Hyun, which is it just seems like the perfect StarCraft 2 name to me.
It's hard to lose with a name like that, Paul.
It is, isn't it? Okay, let's take a quick look at the bracket and show you where we are. First match is already done, and Alicia is the man who goes through to the upper bracket final. He'll play for a place in the round of 8 against Revival or HuK. Neve, unfortunately, dropping down to the lower bracket. Just before we move on to talk about HuK and Revival, your thoughts on Neve? I mean, you watched him through the round of 32. He's very exciting, up-and-coming American player. Terran as well. It's great to see the exciting players on. But is this just a little bit too early for him, do you think?
I don't think that's the case necessarily. I'm still very excited about Neep, and when I think about it, if he keeps his motivation up, if he keeps practicing, and he's not even done today, so we shouldn't talk about him like, oh, Neep, thank you for coming out. He still has a shot at making it through. I think that was just the style that he did not prepare for, and this is like the second time today that like it's like, hey, Colossus openings all the way, or Colossus pushes in this case. I think it's a little different, and Neep has shown us that he's very good against these Chartlots openings, and that he loves to play these high aggression games, but playing against Colossus is almost playing a whole different matchup. I think he was not necessarily prepared for it, and it's also a very unforgiving style when Protoss is that committed to being aggressive. If you lose a few bio units too many, if you don't have your bunkers up in time, it's almost game over immediately. I think he was just not able to showcase how good he truly is in that first series. Why that is, of course, Alicia is a different caliber than perhaps the Protoss he plays normally against, but you know, give him a few more series on this stage against a style like that, and he will already do a lot better.
All right, okay. Let's talk about HuK and Revival now. These two go head-to-head. They have met before, a couple of times. They won 1 right now, and 3-3 in maps. So there's nothing between them in that respect in terms of history. But if we compare the two players where they are in 2014, it's a different story right now. You rightly said earlier on, Revival's probably had the best year of his career in 2013. Championship winner at the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai for the first time winning a Premier tournament. Second, just a matter of days between the two in WCS America Season 1 as well. I think that literally, there was a week between them or something, and he literally was in the final of 2 in a row. Not quite so good in Season 2, round of 16, and then round of 32 last season. So seems to be falling away a little bit in terms of WCS America, but definitely had a strong 2013. HuK, on the other hand, didn't have the strongest of 2013s by his own admission. He is a multiple Premier title winner. He's won 3 major titles in his career, but you've got to go back to 2010, 2011, and a little bit of 2012 towards the end of Wings, that he was still a great player, but it hasn't happened for him over the last 2 years. Why?
I think it was mostly that he was quite stubborn in the start. I think a lot of people will attest to that his style was stubborn. He still tried to make work what just didn't really work anymore. And then once in a blue moon, you have success with it. But I think he kept riding the high aggression style a little too long. But later on, he's shown us that he is capable of transitioning, and he's capable of playing excellent macro games. Especially in the round of 32, he really blew me away with a couple of very cute strategies. I remember this like wall of pylons. There were like this wave of pylons that he was able to fall back on and force through the ramp, force through another ramp. I was like discussing it. It's like, wow, this is brilliant. I'm not sure if this is coincidence or if he planned it out like that, but that was fantastic. And I really think that HuK's shown us in the last 4 or 5 months that he worked hard. He finally let go of being the over-predictable HuK. I mean, he's still capable of being highly aggressive because, you know, once you have that in you, it's never going to let go. He's not a guy that's just going to only sit back an entire tournament. But he has shown us that, okay, he's finally approaching the game in a different way. And I think this is why he's been doing a lot better in the last few months. And if he's still working as hard as he was back then, I think there's a very good chance that we're going to see a very strong HuK again today.
Yeah, and both of them had a very different route to the round of 16 as well. Round of 32 for Revival had a tricky group. Came through the group with HuK, who won his group, and then had to beat the STC and Bure, which is no mean feat. He's beaten two really class players.
Yeah, that last game.
Yeah, that last game against Bure. And it's crazy when you think that Bure had done so well, and you look at him and you think, he's got this, and then suddenly he loses. HuK, on the other hand, had a very straightforward group, but when you looked at it and you thought, hang on a minute, there's a dangerous Chinese player, Zhigua, in his group, and Liquid Hero, you then go, that's going to be tough. And yet he wins 2-0, 2-1. And he wins at the top of the group. So how is he able to do stuff like that when we know that he's also not had the best year in 2013?
I mean, 2013, 2014 is already 4 months further. And as you said, we've seen a new HuK, we've seen a more evolved HuK, who's finally able to play a different style as well. Maybe he was capable of playing it all along, he just was not doing it. And now he's shown us that he is capable of pretty much bringing anything to the show when it matters. But there's one thing that we should also look into a little bit. Round of 32, WCS America, of course, played on the American server. That's why it's WCS America. And that also means that if you play against Korean, or in this case, a Chinese player on that server, you have a little bit of an advantage. It's not a game-winning advantage, but it's an advantage that players on that level can definitely capitalize on. And some players are a lot better playing with latency, some players are not capable of it at all. So, you know, you could say like maybe that was a little bit on his side, but I would never just take it all away from HuK like he only won, but I think it does help.
All right. Thank you very much, Rotterdam. We're about to get into our second game of Group B. It's Canada's HuK, or HuK Norris, as they call him in Canada, going up against the man from CM Storm. No, it's not Polt. It's Revival. Let's go over to the commentary team now. Top 3 fly control as we get into game number 2.
Thank you very much, Paul, here at the caster's desk. I have no clue what just happened, but we'll just move on with things.
I like how we always have to start talking after this happens, and we're like, what?
I'm just like, what's going on? But anyway, we have HuK versus Revival.
Yeah, cool match here. The two ex-teammates, HuK, the very aggressive Protoss. You were just talking to me a little bit about HuK's performance versus Zhigua earlier in the round of 32. Yes, because it is Zhigua.
Zhigua.
You have to be careful.
As soon as he said it, dude, I was in here and I shouted at the screen. I was like, Zhigua! But yeah, you corrected him. So
you were talking about these games a little bit. Can you repeat what you were saying, basically?
I can, yes, I can. Basically, from what we had was a bit of a difference of styles, really, from map to map. And that's one thing that I really, really appreciated from HuK when we were watching him during the round of 32. Habitation Station comes along. We saw that a gateway push into Immortal push from the gold base being claimed, etc. And then going on to Heavy Rain, we saw a much, much longer played-out game there from HuK, where he was able to really show and exhibit his mastery of the late game against Zergs. So Revival has got to prepare for, like, every eventuality against HuK, who is looking more of a well-rounded player than I've ever seen him.
And I think vetoing Yonsu here makes sense. Against somebody like HuK who likes to go for aggressions, this is definitely one of the maps where proxying pylons, going for big gateway attacks, going for even immortal pushes can be very, very deadly and dangerous Daedalus points. Always the first veto against Zerg by Protoss. We could see Altozim go as well. It's really okay.
There you go.
Not bad.
Go on, 4 for 4. From HuK's side.
Polar Knights, maybe.
Yeah. Polar Knight.
With HuK, HuK has such an unconventional style that's it's actually very hard. Maybe he heard me. He's like thinking of doing something different.
Maybe.
Okay, Habitation Station. Against Revival, again, this is not a guy that's particularly famous for like going swarmos often, so not sure why Habitation was removed. Maybe out of the 4 last maps, the one that HuK felt the least comfortable on, or the one map he didn't have any build that he liked. Frost is going to be picked first. Makes sense. I think Frost is the most played map right now.
I think so, yeah. We see it almost in every single series here in WCS, not only Europe, but also America as well at the moment. But you've got to remember that when we saw HuK play against Xigua, it was quite a while ago, almost a month ago now.
Yeah.
So the Habitation Station build that we saw out of HuK there, he may, you know, in a month's time have felt, this probably isn't the best choice against a player like Revival, who generally does lock himself down very, very well. So that's certainly something to consider here going into that.
And Revival going into this match, also, he's had some times where he looked quite invincible. Remember in Shanghai?
Oh yeah, that was
he
scary.
destroyed us in the finals. That was ridiculous. Every map that they played, he had an answer for everything. Nothing was going up against him. Nobody was a match for him.
Oz mentally crumbled in that series after watching how strong Revival was in the matchup. You just couldn't, there was no way to break him. I mean, we saw the crazy, I mean, it was a long time ago, okay, but we saw the craziest tech switches out of Revival.
I remember big packs of Hydralisks breaking down walls.
Yeah, and then
like everything dying.
And then all of a sudden, Mutalisks fly, and you're like, this is never going to end. It's like a Protoss nightmare, but this was, so Revival has always been good in the matchup. He's always been good in it.
The thing I feel is he's good against Protosses that like to take a third base, that like to turtle a little bit, that like to take it slow, you know? Whereas against somebody like HuK, who likes to be super aggressive, who likes to do a lot of gateway aggressions, it's going to be trickier. And I think going into this match, Revival, a good mindset he could have here is try to identify what he's up against and be ready to make a lot of roaches to defend with. And if he's able to do that well, he could take the win here. Then again, against HuK, it's always tricky because you never know exactly what's going to come, even though you know that a lot of the time it's going to be aggression, it's going to be gateways. You're never sure if it's a 3-gate, a 4-gate, 8 gates, could be anything. So going to be tricky sometimes to defend against this little man here.
This little guy. Well, you're a tall one, so you can call anyone little, but HuK here, I mean, I remember HuK personally from when I was sat in my bedroom in Finland and watching this guy go through GSL runs and stuff, and he was considered one of the best non-Koreans ever at the time. And
no, he was the best runner for a while.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. Jinro was up there and like really trying to challenge for the spot as well, but HuK, man, he did well.
He placed well in a few GSL early on. He went to MLGs. He was the highest finish foreigner at least 2 or 3 times in a row. That one, MLG Anaheim, which was the most stacked tournament at the time with a lot of players going.
Yeah,
he finished very, very high in that one. And after that, he's had some tough times, but now he's playing pretty well these days, I have to say.
Yeah, he is. I have to agree. And then we have Revival, who, for me, there is a bit of a question mark above this guy's head because...
That's my line.
Is it? Sorry, man. In the past couple of tournaments, we haven't really seen much of his ZVP.
Yeah.
We've only really seen his ZVZ, his ZVT, WCS, the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, this WCS round of 32.
But if you look at his ZVT there, though, that was very, very impressive. If he's Zerg versus Protoss, he's as good, even though he lost that match in the World Championship, I think he's a sick player, Revival.
Yeah, I mean, that was very close to the World Championship as well against Jakshi of all people. But now let's get into game number 1 between HuK and Revival to see who is going to be advancing on to play in the winners match here in Group B. As we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner our red Protoss. Representing evil geniuses, it is HuK. And up to the top left-hand corner are blue Zerg. Representing CM Storm, it's Revival.
So from HuK's game versus Xigua, it seems that right now, he likes to open gateway much more often than Forge.
Yeah.
AKA he never goes Forge and always gateway. So that's probably games that Revival has studied himself. There are ways to open better against gateways openers than against Forge. We'll see what Revival chooses to do. A good option, I've mentioned it many times, would be to go for at least a hatch first, maybe double hatch before. Even a gas and a pull, you're going to be safe. You're going to be pretty safe against a gateway opener. Nothing can really kill you unless you really mess up. But I don't think Revival is particularly known for messing up too often.
No, Revival's pretty solid. CM Storm won't pick him up otherwise.
Whoa.
Oh, well.
As I said, that looks like a Nexus first by HuK.
Huh.
Could be, like considering the pylon placement, could be Nexus, then Gateway, which a lot of Koreans have been using. Top Koreans, I'm talking Zest, Rain, Parting, all these guys in the GSL, they've done pretty well with that, this kind of build. If HuK was to do this, and if he executes it really well, it's going to be very tough for Revival to read well into it, because this is one of the newer builds, but surely he must have a minimum of experience against it.
And in the even interestingly, over on Revival's side of things, his Overlords are going in completely the wrong directions, completely wrong. This one is situated out in the front.
Oh, and Forge.
And, oh, okay. But Revival's not going to get a read on this unless he sends out a drone scout or Lings pretty soon, but obviously he can't send out Lings, the spotting pool's not finished. So he needs to spot what's going on with the Nexus, at least.
Yeah, I wonder why HuK is going Forge. I really thought this was going to be a gateway. It seemed like he was much more comfortable. Maybe trying to surprise his opponent a little bit here. I don't think... I guess like if he scouts Revival now first position, which he is, and he sees like double hatchery before pulled, he could cannon one of the bases and then behind his tech normally and be alright, but other than that, that Forge first there doesn't have much use except making sure that he's safe against some kind of early on rush with Zerglings, which Revival has been known to do from time to time.
I mean, one thing's for sure, this is certainly a deviation from what we saw from HuK in the round of 32. So a month's time has passed, he has changed up a little bit, and from here on out, it's just going to add on the double gases behind the gateway. So other than the Nexus first into Forge and not being able to do a whole lot with it.
All right, I'm going to need a number. How many gateways are we going to see this game?
You mean as an initial poke? Or
Yeah.
Okay, so I think 3. I don't think any more.
3
than that.
total?
As an initial.
What the hell?
product.
No, you don't have 2 gateways. You had 3 or you had none.
You fine, God.
So that would be 4. Then again,
It's delayed though, right?
Yeah,
So I don't think he even does it.
yeah. The thing is, usually if you open for a gateway, you had 2 once, so then you will be at 3. But like, usually with the position that HuK is in right now, if he goes for something like a +1, he at least adds 3 in the first place and then extra ones after. See, he starts the +1, which is typical HuK play here. He has hidden a probe on the map, and I think we could be seeing something like some kind of 7 gates here. I wouldn't be surprised. The thing is, he's mining a lot of gas in his main. He's not particularly going to need that gas to throw down extra gateways. I don't think the cybernetic score is going to be chrono boosted. He gets a Stalker as soon as possible. I really like that HuK has skipped a Zealot, by the way. That would be a little bit of a useless Zealot right now.
Yeah, really not doing a whole lot. If he does throw down a pylon down that left-hand side, though, and still add on gateways, I mean, with the gas he's got coming in, he has the ability to initially add on sentries and zealots, and then if he sees the need to add on an extra round of stalkers, there is always that option as well, if he knows that there's going to be some roach numbers coming along.
Mothership Core begins, and I think gateways will be thrown down very, very soon here, since HuK still didn't take gases on his natural. Is chrono boosting warp gate? No, I guess he chased that Ling away. He knows that this is not going to be spotted. Usually you want to make your gateways when your warp gate is halfway through done. So right now it's not there just yet. It's going to be in a second at about halfway, and I think we could be seeing something like a lot of gateways being made in a second.
Good, and there they are at the back of the mineral line. So 3 extra ones get added on, as you were saying before, Todd. And
the thing is that Overlord on the bottom left-hand side is a big deal. No pylon can be made nearby unless it was made in the middle of the map on the left-hand side, you know, behind those small bushes. Oh, Sentry is not going to be enough to deny that Overlord in the main from spotting the gateways. Knowing about this is a big deal. It really helps in being able to defend. The thing is, I don't think that HuK is going to commit to this all that much. You see he's getting a Twilight Council right now. I think he gets +2 blink and then does the timing.
And he was walling himself in for a second. That cancels that to let them out. The probe is going to head up, but he could try and claim a third base off this, though.
That pylon on the left-hand side is not in range of the Overlord, but the Overlord spotted it. I think Revival is sending some units over there right now, and he's going to be able to get a cancel on that one pylon.
I don't think he's going to do this. I think he's going to go straight to a third, because he's still got probes in production. I mean, and then claim it with +2 and blink, and then hold on from there.
This is the thing with HuK. When he sees that he's been spotted, and he sees that actually he's going for the aggression, but I think this is a fake. He's not going to commit all that much. I think he wants to grab a third with this. HuK actually has quite a few minerals right now. Surprised he hasn't started that third base just yet.
Let's +2 and Blink started up. You're right, he could start it, and he's warping in extra Zealots here. I guess he's just trying to force out a lot of unit production whilst he eventually claims a third behind this.
He should wait for the Mothership Core to be with his army just in case he gets into trouble and then he could recall. Why is he not starting that third base? He has a probe there. Okay, there we go.
All right.
And wouldn't be surprised if we see extra gateways being made, maybe a robo. And HuK, he really likes timings, no matter when. Now, this is basically a pressure. This is a fake. This is not a real attack here.
Yeah, I got a recall out.
He knew that he would be held.
Whoa.
Actually, as I say that, man, HuK is like a crazy player.
He is.
And he's like an enraged dog. Like he sees something, he wants to bite, like he goes forward and attacks.
And he's going to have to evacuate out. It would have been a lot easier with recall, but for now he's just going to have to sit around here. +2 Blink is on the way, but Revival realized quite a bit ago that this wasn't a full committal, so he started drones behind this. The Zealots aren't doing too badly, but Roaches can kite them forever and ever on creep, so he has to pull back. And Enduring Locusts.
Sping is going to finish in 10 seconds here, so those Zealots, they should be chased down and killed. Oh my god. This is a horrible situation for HuK to take that third base against Swarmhost. I guess both of these third base, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because with the Watchtower, it's so easy to sit there, send in the Locust, snipe the base, and I think that's why Revival is going for this. Revival, he really doesn't strike me as the kind of player who likes to play Swarmhost too much, but he's a player who's able to pull anything off. And in these positions, on this map, I think he's been able to identify that this is probably one of the best strategies he could go for, and he's not going to hold back, he's going to go for it.
And it's very important, even if you are not the kind of player to do it, to still mix it in anyway, because you always need that fear in a Protost's mind that it could happen. So this being on the way here really will keep HuK back. There's not really a whole lot you can do against that for now. I mean, does he even have a robo? Oh, okay, he does have a robo, but...
Edit on his natural. And HuK is going to have to go around. I don't think he can stay in this position and be siege for a long time. He needs to try and go for some kind of counter-attack at some point. And I'm afraid, oh, if he could force field some of those roaches. Merry Christmas.
Oh, catches quite a few of them. Those are really good force fields, actually. Catches around 6 roaches, picks those off very quickly. It denies those locusts from getting any good position at all, but at least he sees the locust, which is very, very important.
He's going to counter-attack. This is what he needs to do here. He needs to evacuate that base. Maybe use that pylon at the bottom to warp in some Zealots, send them into the third base, and then attack the fourth base with his main army. He has force fields.
There was a Ling on that watchtower, though, so he does know that his opponent's moving down
he could get
here.
the snipe.
He's going to try.
He's going to blink in there. If he can snipe that base, the force fields are going to be very important. And his Mothership Core, he needs to keep it alive.
Yeah, he needs to be able to recall out of this position once he's done here.
There's no queen, actually, near that area, so he's going to be fine for now. The thing is, do you think there is a Muta transition coming? Out of Revival, he gets the Spire. I guess he's going to have it as an option. Yeah. That does not necessarily mean he wants to go for it.
Oh, but he's getting pinned in. He has to get out of there. That's a lot of... Well, the thing is that he didn't deal proper damage to the base,
Oh, the Zealots on the bottom left-hand side. Called it, man. The thing is, again, this is going to be spotted. He swapped in a lot of Zealots. He wants to send them into that base. He wants to keep on buying time right now.
Yeah.
You don't want to be fighting against the Locust and losing a lot of units. So HuK is going to send units to basically do his own siege in Revival's base. The problem is Roaches are very, very good at defending. So are Locusts. So it's going to be very difficult, regardless, for HuK to make this work.
And technically with the Spire, he could be anticipating this double robo play coming out because, you know, you need Colossi against this. Oh, he actually could lose this if the Zealots just focused it down.
Oh, HuK goes for the Swarmhost.
Oh, this Nexus is going to fall as well. No way he's going to be able to save that at all. Middle of the map, trying to catch all of those Swarm hosts, and he gets them.
Sniping them.
All right, but was that worth a base? And did he kill the base over on the left-hand side?
Yeah, the thing is, the Nexus doesn't really matter, but he lost all the probes that he had there. This is a big deal. Oh, he's gonna get surrounded. There's no recall available.
Uh-oh.
HuK is surrounded. Actually, Revival doesn't even care. He's pressing towards that natural of his opponents.
Okay, why not? That's a lot of roaches that he has now barreling down on this Nexus. And all those Zealots warping in, they can't really do a whole lot against that just yet. Turns around, goes for the fight on the Stalkers and Sentries, and he's been cleaned up over on the left-hand side. Again, Revival's still on 3 bases because he took that base up to the north, and HuK's income is going to be waning from here on out.
Roaches, good unit, man. They defended very well against the Zealots, and Revival has enough that even if he fights against Guardian Shield and Force Fields, he's going to be able to trade well. He has a 6 supply lead now. What is going on with these Zealots stuck in the main? He needs to bring them down. And HuK at this point, he's basically just going to be under siege there is not much he can do. More Swarmos are being made, and I think he knows what's coming. He could try to go for a counter-attack like he did before, which usually is right against Swarmos, but the Roaches are so mobile. As soon as HuK leaves his base, he's going to be counter-attacked again by these Roaches. He's going to lose his natural, he's going to lose his main, and a base trade, as much as it can be good versus Swarmos play in this situation, Revival handles it super well with all the Roaches that he has. So
yeah,
HuK for now playing passive might be a good choice.
Revival has a great army, and all he needs to do is get it in the right position and use it. Roaches going to try and get right on top of these Colossi. They do. One of those will fall fast. Blinkstalkers try and blink into a position to defend the other one, but even that has to retreat out as well. And all the Locusts are tearing apart those sentries. They have no more initiative from force fields anyway. And this is a sorry sight right now for HuK, who is still stuck on these two bases.
Yeah, he still didn't have the thermal lance, and the force fields actually didn't do much because Roaches still got in there. They got a snipe on one of these Colossi immediately, and at this point, there's just not much left that HuK can do. Corruptors are being made. I think Revival realizes that the only threat that there is.
Colossus.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a good composition here for Revival to finish off HuK, as HuK right now is staring down the barrel. He's going to have to try and recover from some way, somehow, but with tunneling claws on the way as well. Even if he was to get an expansion down, how does he defend all those locations? This is looking rough here for HuK in game number 1.
Yeah, I think this position is very, very difficult to deal with Swarmos, and he identified it way too late. If you look at HuK's vision of the main and the natural of Revival, he's put so little effort into scouting anything, which is not the way you want to go about playing against a Zerg. As much as HuK's plan was being aggressive, and you can get some information through that, if he had known earlier that this was what he was up against, he could have taken all the bases on the bottom right-hand side, transferred probes there, went for something like a Dark Shrine to defend against Roaches, and then he could have just defended a lot better against the Locust overall. And if you're basically disable the ability for the Locust to siege you well, your army is going to do fine against the Roaches. You're not even going to need to go for counterattacks all the time.
HuK's going to have to try and play this out long, but I don't think he'll even let him with Revival as he now moves in once again. Corrupts every single one of these Colossi, and then they will fall so fast. And all these Stalkers, I mean, they're trying to combat against these Roaches.
Look at his Zealot in the middle of the Stalkers. He's like stuck in there.
Hit them, and then they burrow as soon as he gets there. He's like, no, and then has to go back to Aya, poor guy. But now, I mean, the Hive's on the way. Revival behind this is absolutely flourishing. There's really nothing slowing him down at this point.
I'm just gonna go for a small counter-attack here with some Stalkers. I think at this point he knows what is up. And even a Dark Shrine I don't think will save him here. There's too much army, too many Roaches.
Roaches from all sides, Lynx as well. GG, Revival takes game number 1 on Frost. And I want to actually... I recall something. It was like back in 2012, I think, and it was an interview with HuK. And I think it was an MLG. And he mentioned something about his playstyle, which kind of sprung out to me in this game. And it was that sometimes he feels that his playstyle, he tries to play too middle of the road, like have
too middle of the road.
Like, okay, let me explain.
Is
like,
this one of those words?
It's a phrase in English, in
Really?
England, yeah. Too middle of the road. Like, he tries to put on aggression, but also whilst expanding at the same time, and because he's not doing either with full committal, neither really has the big punch, the big punch that he needs in a game to really take full command of it. And I feel that this kind of came out in this first game. So maybe that's something that kind of hindered here, HuK.
Yeah.
And it's a long time he's felt like that. I don't know if he feels about like it now, but it certainly looked like that in game number 1.
You know, a lot of the reactions of HuK here were right. Going for the initial counterattack, going for the double Robo Colossi. The thing is, it's actually even if you scout a lot, it's very, very hard to identify how many Roaches you're up against, which is the tricky part here. Because depending on how many Roaches there are, you cannot go for these counterattacks. If your opponent makes too many Roaches, and these few Swarmos, like Revival did here, the right move is to basically play defensive then. Let yourself get sieged, use some force fields here and there to buy yourself some time, use some Guardian Shield sometime, blink Stalkers back. Once you're gonna have, say, like 6 Colossus, if you max out on 6 Colossus plus mass stalkers and you have +2 or +3, your opponent has Swarmos, Roaches, and Corruptors, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
Because of force fields, because of Wild and Shield, you're gonna win. You're gonna force field out the few waves of Locust, you're gonna get in there, you're gonna crush him. And at this point, HuK just misidentified what he was up against. He saw a few Swarmos, he went immediately into a mindset like, I need to counterattack. I cannot fight this guy. He probably has a lot of Swarmos, a lot of static defense. Wasn't the case. He went for the counterattack. There was a lot of fortresses available for revival. Not only ready to defend, but ready to counterattack and snipe his bases. Losing that base at the top, again, put him very, very far behind, and from there it's almost impossible to come back.
And it makes it kind of... Revival made those spawning positions look kind of scary. The way in which he was counterattacking with those roaches. I mean, before...
Dude, have you seen Snoot playing on these positions?
I have like once or twice.
It's like
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like
similar
minute,
to this.
Yeah, minute 8, you have like mass Swarmos and Spores and Spines in front of your base, and like, you shall not do anything.
Yeah.
If you leave, then you're dead. If you stay, you're dead as well. So.
Yeah. But I mean, those roaches that sniped out in the third, it took Funker to show me it before I even realized it was going on. I was like, oh, okay, so they're actually just going to kill off that Nexus pretty darn quickly.
That was your reaction? Oh,
that one. Yeah. All right. So, second map's going to be Polar Night. And we are just waiting for a second here.
This is a map where Swarmos can work, but overall, I think on this map, what the tricky part for Protoss is getting good engagement. In the middle of the map, you're going to need a lot of force fields. Roach Hydra is very, very strong on this map. Tefel might actually be the best Zerg versus Protoss in the world on this map. Just because he gets saturation on 3 bases and then he spams Roach and Hydra non-stop.
And it's not a concave, it's more of a circle that just kind of encloses on you from all sides.
It's like a never-ending Roach Hydra range.
They just come in a spiral constantly. You're like, why can't I escape? But, yeah. All right, let's get
Such a nerd.
Oh, thank you, Todd.
It's a compliment.
I know it is. I take it wholeheartedly. So let's get into game number 2 as we are loading up for Polar Night. Revival and HuK. Revival's currently 1 game up, looking good. Can he take the 2-0? We shall find out here. As we have spawning down to the south are Red Protoss. Representing evil geniuses, it is HuK. And up to the north position, currently 1 game up against his Protoss opponent, representing CM Storm, it's Revival.
Revival being CM Storm's latest recruits, of course, alongside Polt.
Who's their Protoss going to be?
Good question.
I
wonder.
That'd be cool.
Maybe
cool.
HuK.
No. That would be cool if they had like a Zerg, a Terran, and a Protoss. That would be cool.
Like they're all sick players.
They're all-stars. The CM all-stars. Oh, damn.
Monsieur Loranger is EG for life, man.
I think so, yeah. I think he'll be there for a good while.
Drone scouts very early on by Revival here. This could mean a number of things. He wants to know if it's Gateway or Forge opener. He's going to have the option to go for a hatch block if he wants to, which against a Gateway, who was it? Somebody earlier said that hatch block against the Gateway is like, can be pretty annoying for the Gateway opener.
I think it was Rotterdam that said it.
Yeah, I think I kind of disagree with that. Personally, if I'm opening Gateway and somebody goes for hatch block, I just want to boost out the second Zealot, get a Mothership Core, pull 1 or 2 probes, and it's pretty okay. And now, especially since HuK, he must have seen that drone. So the right reaction here would be to send a probe down his ramp, make sure that there is the hatch, and chrono boost out Zealots to make sure he gets... Actually, I think HuK does not realize.
He's blocking off his opponent's
He made the gas very, very late. I think he was maybe planning into going Gateway, then Nexus.
Yeah.
Look, he's going to be supply blocked. He cannot start. Cancel the probe.
There we go. Okay.
Oh.
Wait, no.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. Okay, he did.
He had to because he was on 17 out of 18.
I was sat back far away. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
He should have left a probe on that expansion to do some damage as well while it's building. There's quite a few. And HuK is going to spot exactly what he's up against in terms of cast and pull timing.
And he's doing what you mentioned before, you know, just getting out that second Zealot. Is he actually sending Chrono Boost into it? But regardless, it's you know, a good start. Oh, he actually Chrono Boost.
The thing is that hatchery will finish.
Yeah.
And what you need to pay attention to when hatchery like this finishes with a lot of hit points is if a queen starts. If a queen starts, the hatchery starts shaking, and then you need to time 50 seconds because 50 seconds later, a queen comes out and drops down a crypt tumor, and if you let it go down, so you see now he sees that the queen started, and he's gonna need to time it. It's gonna be like 4 minutes 40 something,
and you don't
around 4 minutes 40. So I will say 4 minutes 30. He should pull like a few probes maybe and send them down.
So he gets around on it straight away.
I guess maybe not now because there is only a queen making. Okay, no, Revival timed very well these Zerglings.
Oh.
When his queen was halfway through down, so those are gonna line up very, very well. I'm a little bit worried. Usually you never see a crypt tumor being allowed to be made here, but if this was to happen, this would be a disaster.
3 zealots are gonna get it before the queen!
Oh wow, sick.
Run away from the broodlings! Run away!
The poor guy.
Oh, he's like, leave me, I'm done. I'm done for. Okay, but no, I mean, denying the queen from coming out completely is very good by HuK. He clearly understood and knew exactly the precise timing.
That was very, very close. If it had come out, I still don't think. Supposedly, the thing is, if it comes out, you're supposed to target it. If he was targeting the hatch, the queen came out, the broodlings would have been fighting, and then the crypt tumor would have gone on. Anyway, lots of useless theory crafting. I'm just saying this could have been a disaster, and HuK basically made a bad situation an okay one now, just with his good defense.
And in the end, long story short, creep tumors are scary. You don't want that blocking your natural.
Oh my god, you need like a robo, get an observer.
Yeah.
Then you have to go into immortals.
No! Don't leave me! No!
This is such a nice build by Revival. Having speed this fast behind this, because he went for the gas and pull.
It's really annoying to expand now.
Yeah, how do you expand? HuK is gonna have to start warping in a lot of units, and with the next warping, I guess he should be able to take.
Yeah, it's the old school sentry expand. We are back to Wings of Liberty, and it tries to get the probe, but it can't get it. All right.
Nice micro by HuK. Top 3 control.
Indeed.
Definitely.
I'm just going to agree.
I like how we just listened for a second and thought about the good old times.
It was all the good old times, man. We have Sentry Expand, we have top 3 control, we have his interview from 2012 MLG. So, yeah, it's a truly old school cast right now.
Fairly quick roach run. I don't think this means that Revival wants to be aggressive, but could be. I think he's worried. This is a safety roach run. You see he's mining gas still as well. He could do a thing, which is get some roaches, which means if he gets attacked, he's safe. And if he doesn't get attacked, he's the one who can put on some aggression. The thing is, HuK with this many sentries and this much energy is a very, very scary player. You're going to need a lot of roaches to make sure you can be cost effective against this. And Revival, luckily for him, has spotted exactly how many units he's up against. And I think HuK, he can get a cancel easily on that third base, get a good position behind that third base.
I see this Zealot Sentry move out, and once again, this is HuK to a T. This is him. He
has
goes
like 5 units, he moves out.
Exactly, and he forces the cancel.
Who gives you permission to expand?
Not HuK, that's for damn sure.
And he spared the drone, which he shouldn't have.
How merciful of him.
What is this? He's like sieging the base with sentries. Oh my god.
Get the Overlord, sentries to the rescue.
These guys balls of steel, man.
But at least he can just recall out now. That's nice.
Oh, force fields maybe? Ooh, the roaches are still very slow.
He walks to the mineral line, then he force fields.
Not even.
Not even.
Okay.
There we go.
The drone, not going to be spared this time. Yeah, he's going to have to recall for sure. I don't think he could escape here just by living normally. A robo behind this, so I'm thinking Immortal Push right now.
Yeah.
He's already on, how many gateways? 4? He's getting the +1. And he needs the gases and his expo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the worker count is horrible.
Revival has no workers.
Yeah, he's just gone up to 44. He's taking to lair now, he's getting an Evo, but having had to make all of these roaches and not being able to use them for aggression now, I guess he's doing something smart, which is clearing this ice here.
Yeah, I mean, you have to make these units do something when they've been produced and not really do anything.
Double hallucination is being sent out now. So this time HuK is going to make sure he knows exactly what he's up against. And I think, honestly, if he adds like few extra gateways and goes for an Immortal Push, I just see him winning the game right there and then. The thing is, he made a Twilight Council.
Yeah.
HuK is a big fan of Blink. As much as a lot of players like Sand, you know, they would just make some Immortals attack and win, HuK likes his Blink. And Blink and +2 here could be the timing
so you think he waits for all of this across 2 base?
Maybe he moves out now, fakes aggression, force more units out of his opponent while he gets +2 and Blink. You see, he's adding extra gateways, and he's been cutting pro production for that. Which, by the way, he cut a little bit early. 15 in a natural, 1 is missing.
Yeah. Well, adding on the 3 gateways, +1 finishing, and
Infestation pits.
So is he really going to try and hold on with this?
Yeah, this means quick hive for Vipers or Swarmhost. In this case, I don't think it ever means Infestors.
I think it'll be Swarmhost.
Yeah, in this case, I have to agree. I think it's Swarmhost. Then again, we've seen Hyun tech very, very quickly, even before making Hydralis Den. You tech to Hive now, then you make the Hydralis Den, and you time your Hydralisks very well to have the Vipers at the same time. Okay, Handling Locust, yeah, it's going to be Swarmhost, which is also a good choice in this situation.
But there is a bit of a window now where he's not very strong. I mean, he's investing so much into that. Swarmhost in production.
Yeah, the army supply.
Do too much. Yeah, it's good for HuK. He has so much space control with these sentries that this push is very strong, and he killed off the third before, and he's probably going to kill it again. But this time, it falls down so fast, and you're not going to recuperate all the losses from that by cancelling.
He could chase these drones, but actually the gate have been opened in the back door. That queen's not going anywhere.
Actually, that's a really good assault position. It's easy to choke off with force fields.
Yeah, but he's not going to do any damage. I mean, only Locust. He can force your Locust, which Revival's not going to care about.
Doesn't have really much to deal with damage, though.
The thing is, HuK has delayed the third base even more. His opponent, he could take his own third base, and I think he's going to want to get in engagement just because of all the energy he has. Maybe trade some energy for some units.
There was still a lot of roaches hitting away at some of these sentries at the front. 2 Immortals. Did one end up falling? I mean, there's... there's one hidden behind that Mothership core. So he's just going to try and push forward slowly here with the force fields. He still has so many left. He's reinforcing around the back as well.
Yeah, he's sending units to get a cancel again on that third base. HuK has played this so well. He needs to not overextend though. No more energy on most of these sentries. He's going to lose some here and there.
At least he could still recall if he really needed to.
He needs his own third base. He's getting a second a Robo Bay as well. Oh, actually, this is going to be defended here.
Yeah, he will defend this, but I think with double Robo production, a Robo Bay, he either goes with like a few... He has to expand.
He needs a third base. Like, he needs enough gas to keep on making those gas-heavy units. And at this point, he just recalled in his main. And I think he's going to want to look to take that third base on the left-hand side, possibly. But he's delayed it so much. He knew that there was no unit down on the map. He could have just sent a Zealot there, cleaned up that Ling, and taken that third base much earlier.
I mean, one of the latest PVZ expansions I saw in the round of 32 from WCS America was like 13 minutes or so. I think it might have been PuK, actually. But
the latest I saw was in Wellness Games.
Yeah?
It never came.
Oh. Well, that's pretty late as well. Yeah, I will agree. But HuK here, he somehow has to find a way. I mean, he has 47 probes still. He's not really producing them all that much. I actually think he's just going to go.
By the way, this is Swarmhost the way they were meant to use it, right here for you. He moves across the map. He's sending Locusts. He's moving his Swarmhost all the time. It's very, very hard for HuK to keep up with this army movements. This is completely different than the Turtle Swarmhost style that you see a lot of Zergs go for. And HuK still not going to go for a third base.
No, he's just going to go, man. He is just going to go with his
coming into 2 bases?
Yeah.
With the Warp Prism, he could reinforce very easily. He's sending it around now. So that could mean he wants to warp in some Zealots, drop them in the main, try to get a snipe on that lair or hive if there was to be a hive. And with that Spire, I think Revival's just going to want to look to add Corruptors. HuK not having a third. If he loses his Colossi, he's not going to have a chance on fighting these Locusts and this Grand Army from his opponent.
It's all on Colossi +2 and Blink. That is what HuK is seeming to move towards, unless, of course, he doesn't want to replenish any probes because his main's about to mine out, and then maybe when he gets the third down, he can just transfer them from there. But that's bizarre in itself, as he needs an economy if he's not going to go for it, but he is. He's just going to power through the middle, and 10 Corruptors are on the way.
It's so interesting, by the way, how Revival does not commit too much to Swarmhost. You see, he gets a lot of Roaches, only 10 Swarmhosts, just to put the Protoss in a position where he's feeling very uncomfortable, and he thinks he's playing in Swarmhost heavy style. And then from there, he gets Corruptors, he gets small Roaches. Very, very interesting style here we're seeing out of Revival.
Yeah, it just puts the fear of God in HuK, as he doesn't want to be facing any more than 10. But
what is going on with HuK's army? He's left quite a few units behind.
He can force field and run away if he wants to.
Oh, he could have gotten the main if he had targeted it right away from the start.
Oh, catches a lot of those Roaches. Uh-oh, bye-bye. Oh, that was painful. The Corruptors really need to be over there as quickly as possible, but they lost so many Roaches there. But still, reinforcements, 10 more Roaches on the way. That's going to recuperate the losses that he just had. The Swarmhosts, though, need to buy even more time here, and they are doing. They're pushing this away, leaving one of the Colossi vulnerable, and he catches one with Locust. That's a great trade for Revival.
The Prism died in the main. Wait, okay, no. that Colossus is going to survive. The Prism died in the main, and the Zealots weren't able to get those buildings. If he was to go for another one, could maybe get those buildings. The thing is, the main of HuK is mining out slowly here. He's
now he's going to take that first.
Why is he taking this base?
He's
going to be sieged by a Locust.
He's just mining out his main. He's like, okay, now I need to go on 2 base again. But we have double Colossus production on the way. And Revival's just maxed out with a healthy bank now increasing. I don't see how HuK can hold on.
I understood the Elfie bank.
An Elfie bank? Wow.
Whatever that means, Skylice.
I don't know, man. You made it up, not me.
All right, 4 Colossi, and I think he's going to engage into this.
Nice force fields again to catch off a lot of these Roaches, but still the Corruptors with Corruption catch a lot of these Colossi, going to bring those down one by one, and when they fall, even though a lot of the ground army has been torn up here from Revival, he still has 24 Roaches in production. How are you supposed to deal with that? With only 0 Colossi, but although he has quite a lot of Stalkers left, but he can't move out because of the Locusts.
He has nothing to really deal with the Locusts now, and if you look at the main of HuK, there is not much money left at this point. He's gonna go for the counterattack with just the Stalkers. The thing is, man, that creep spread has been quite great, by the way. Revival sees so much on this map. HuK knows he spotted, he's gonna be pulling back. He tries again to retake that 3rd base. Why? Oh, why?
This is going to be difficult. This is just going to be difficult. Blink Stalker is the choice to hold on against this, but...
He knows that there is Corruptor still alive for Revival. He knows that Revival is still going to remake more. But I think HuK has no choice but to go for Colossi here at this point. And
he trades
this is not a fun fight to take as a Colossus, let me tell you.
I mean, he has to.
Oh, he lost his Observer.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He's trying to rebuild those where he can.
What's up, Roaches?
And they all somehow still sieve on through, so...
They sieve on through.
There was holes in that force field wall, man. I'm not going to lie. There was one, and they all escaped. Apart from one. But anyway.
That Nexus is toast. Going to be cancelled. And Revival is still maxed out. Look at all the upgrades he starts behind this. He's feeling so confident right now.
And he's going to get caught in a blender. How many more kitchen puns can we make here, as you mentioned that Nexus was just toast? Well, Revival's taking another base down at the bottom right-hand corner here.
Yeah. You know, it looked good for HuK at some point. He was getting a whole bunch of Colossi, he was putting on pressure, he got to cancel on that 3rd. But then, he took a few fights that were just not good overall to take. And at this point, Revival's confident enough that he goes forward. Look at the bank he has. Even if he loses this entire army, as long as he trades decently, behind this, he's going to be able to remax and close it out.
Probes are off for the fight and have to try and hold on, but as many Roaches die, it doesn't really matter. Everything is almost corrupted on the ground. And those Locusts, once again, just decide, get out of the way, Roaches, it's our turn, as we're for free, and we don't really cost a whole lot. 22 Zerglings in production against this remaining army is a great choice, because they'll just overwhelm.
Thundering Claws was made, by the way, by Revival, and yeah, we saw the upgrades. This is weird, by the way, like the style that he went for, just exactly 10 Swarmos. That's the number that he wants to have. Then mass Roaches, and then Corruptors. And looking at those games, this is actually very, very hard to deal with. Very, very hard.
There you go. GG. Revival is able to advance on 2-0. And he moves on to the winner's match. Very impressive there by Revival.
Yeah. I wonder what Alicia thinks about this style here, because as much as I say that's Revival, he's a guy who strikes me more as the type of guy that would go for like Mutas, Roach Hydra Viper, Ling Ultra, not really. I didn't think he was that much into Swarmos right now, but he plays Swarmos in such a different style than you see other Zergs played that it makes me very curious as to, is he going to do it against Alicia, and how is Alicia going to counter it? Because this, like, I know I'm being very critical, and you know I'm talking a lot about the mistakes that are being made and stuff, but I'm not saying I will do better against this, because what I'm saying right now is that this is really, really hard to play against. You don't have, when you're playing against this, you don't have nearly as much information as we do us as observer. It's going to be very, very hard for you to know exactly where the Zerg is at economy-wise, how many units he has, when he stops making Swarmos. Just by seeing waves of Locusts, you can kind of know, but you don't know if more are being produced at the time. You don't know how much static defense is going up. You need to send hallucinations all the time, but you also need energy for Guardian Shield and Force Fields because you're going to need to put pressure on all the time.
And I think a scary thing is about 10 Swarm Hosts specifically, is that from there, even from that position, a Zerg, if they wanted to later on, if they see the need to, could technically add on more and it still be even scarier because they have the economy behind it from what we were seeing there from Revival. So it really does put fear in you as a Protoss. I think I said it before, but it really does. I don't think you feel ever comfortable in that position. All right, so we are going to go now after that nice series. We'll be having some more games on the way in just a little bit, but it's now over to Paul.
Thanks very much, Kalaris. Yes, a win for Revival, a 2-0 win, and very straightforward in the end. Rotterdam's with me. Thoughts on the game? I mean, we know how good Revival is, and he's been in 2013. We said it before the game, and we know where HuK has some shortfalls, and he kind of showed that in a way in that game.
I think it was a lot Revival just playing pretty well. Like especially in the game on Frost, I felt he never overcommitted to anything he did. He saw the gateways. He didn't go absolutely crazy. Didn't destroy his own economy. Made just enough roaches to push the Zealots back. And in the second game, I think Revival played really well because I actually felt HuK played pretty damn good in that game and put himself in a good position as well. But in the end, Revival is just the type of Zerg that as your average Protoss player or even as your very good Protoss player like HuK, you don't really like facing because they're really hard to beat.
Yeah, game one. Do you think HuK went in on those Swarm Hosts pretty keenly, didn't he? He was like, okay, I'm just going to shut. I do not want to play Swarm Hosts. I'm just going to kill every Swarm. And he lost a base in the middle of that. And it seemed to... I don't know if he was tilted at that point and he was just like, damn Swarm Host, I'm going to kill him off, or whether it was genuinely like a strategical decision to do it. But it cost him the game in game one.
I think that was it. He's just like, to hell with Swarm Host. Even if I lose the game, as long as I kill 7 of them, I'm good. Now, I think it was nothing really early game went HuK's way. Like, I think HuK hoped that he was able to achieve a little more with all those Zealots that he wiped in. Because Zealots are not utterly useless late game, but if you don't have charge, like a bunch of Zealots in an army like that against Roaches, they're just not really going to pay for themselves. You want to force out a lot of units, but potentially also get a good trade, maybe kill a drone, kill a queen, get a couple of roaches, but he was just not really able to do that because Rion, that's like a mixture between both. Whoa. That would be really scary, man. I wouldn't want to play Rion, or like not the Terran player, but Revival just made enough roaches to push it back, and I think from that point on he was already in a good position, so it was going to be hard for HuK regardless whether he decided to go for that Swarm Host or not. If he tries to keep that base alive, it's going to be very tough for him as well.
Yeah, and as Todd said, Roaches, good unit.
Roach is a very good unit. He got that from me.
He stole it off you. You're going to take us through a little bit of the game and show us how Revival demolished HuK in 2 games.
Yeah, I really liked the second game of Polar Knight because I felt HuK played pretty damn well, and it wasn't easy for Revival to get him later on in the position that he was in. So let's just jump into Polar Knight for a little bit, because this was a scary moment in this phase of the game. We saw HuK taking the long way, but a good way to get into the natural. Funka, take it away. We can fast forward from this point on. I was like surprised that Revival went this deep into it. I was like, is this going to work out for him? He's going to lose a lot of these roaches. But we can see the Immortals were kind of stuck in the back. So these roaches actually did a little better than I thought they were going to do for a while. And look at the production tab. It was like 2-3 Swarmos all the time. But in the end, it was just enough for Revival to survive over here. And from this point on, I liked HuK's decision to go double Robo Bay. I didn't think it was wrong. This little hit squad unfortunately didn't work out. But we can fast forward from this point on. And I liked what Todd pointed out as well. This was not the boring turtley Swarm Host like we sometimes see. No, almost immediately Revival started using this Swarm Host in any way he can. I think this is the moment that I was looking for as well. He's going to burrow this Swarm Host here, look for it. And look at this. It looks like these Swarm Hosts won't do anything, right? Look at all these Zealots. Those were 6-7 Zealots that just went gone. At what cost? Well, the cost of nothing. Like not a single real Zerg unit died there other than Locusts. So even when those Locusts just get rallied into an army like that, it looks like, this is not going to do much. That's 5 Zealots for nothing. Later on, we saw how useful those Zealots can be in the main, for instance. From that point on, Revival just made so many good decisions. And I do agree with Le Tot and Kalaris that HuK could have taken the third base a little quicker, and maybe another position would have been better as well than the one in the middle.
I've joked, as many people will know if they follow me on Twitter, about Swarm Hosts.
I saw them. I saw them all.
Only because I just hate playing against them as a Terran. They just drive me nuts. but mostly because they're used in a very defensive posture to delay the game and delay the inevitable. You're right, in that respect, Revival used them in a much more positive way. I want to see them used like that more often.
And we didn't see 22 Swarm hosts with a bunch of Spore Crawlers waiting for Vipers. No, we saw 6-7 Swarm hosts to survive against the 2-base all-in, then to put on some pressure, and then just turn it into a macro game. Because in the end, he still made a lot of roaches. He lost a lot of them, but he was okay to lose them because it was 3.5 to 4 base Zerg. And Roach is a really good unit in that case.
Yeah, I think that's a good summary of it. Thank you very much, Rod and Amp. I'm going to take a very quick break. When we come back, though, our winners bracket game of Group B will be with us. We're about to find out our third member of the Round of 8 club for WCS America Round of 8 2014. Stay with us. We'll be right back.